We are in Iceland, the island nestled between Greenland and the United Kingdom, discovered by the Vikings in the 9th century. It is home to some 400,000 residents, which perhaps could seem insignificant in modern-day global politics, but don't be fooled. Winston Churchill once wrote, "Whoever possesses Iceland holds a pistol, aimed firmly at England, America and Canada." Nowadays, with climate change opening up new trade routes in the Arctic and Russia's shadow fleet increasingly threatening the security of Western nations from the sea, Iceland is becoming more important than ever. But here's a twist. Iceland does not have a military of its own. But it doesn't mean it's completely defenseless. Join me as we find out why. Iceland's lack of a military is a long-standing tradition, even though it was one of NATO's founding members. And given the country's limited population, it wouldn't be able to deploy a substantial force even if it wanted to. Instead, its strength lies in three main security components. First and foremost, we have to look at Iceland's location. Nestled right between Greenland and the UK, the island serves as a perfect logistics hub for the monitoring and protection of global trade routes. The melting of the ice caps is now opening up a new route through the Arctic, eyed by Russia, China, the United States and Europe. And that's putting NATO on high alert.
This is a free area, and we want to keep it that way. And there will be, I'm assuming there will be some confrontation. There will be some position that will put Russia and China in front of NATO. But we need probably to increase our presence over there.
NATO is one of the biggest guarantors of peace in and around Iceland. The alliance operates on the island on a regular basis from the Keflavik air base. There are currently several hundred US troops stationed here as well. Their main task is to make sure there is no suspicious Russian activity in the area. But while they operate in the sky, someone has to patrol the sea. And this is where the Icelandic Coast Guard comes in. What you can see behind me is one of the two impressive ships, this one called Thor, after the Nordic god of thunder. They are tasked with a number of different things meant to protect the people of the island and the waters surrounding it. And we got a special invitation to their headquarters, so let's go there now and find out more. Okay, so here we are at the headquarters of the Icelandic Coast Guard, and I'm here to meet with the Chief of Operations, Ásgrímur Ásgrímsson. Hello.
Good to meet you.
All right, shall we head inside?
Yes, you can call me Aussie.
Perfect, let's go. Inside the HQ, we started the model of the same vessel we've seen docked in the port. What can you tell us about this ship? How many of these do you have?
We have two similar ships. This one is Thor and the other one is Freyja. They are both named after Nordic gods. Thor was built in Chile for the government of Iceland before the Coast Guard, delivered to us in 2011.
How important is it for your operations?
Iceland is surrounded by ocean, so Coast Guard ships are quite important for safety and security around Iceland. And the tasks that these ships get involved with are numerous, and including law enforcement on the ocean around Iceland, but also coming to the assistance of the population around small towns which get isolated by bad weather, etc. And crew comes in with the ship, provides electricity, provides shelter and whatnot.
It must have been really a great sight for them, right? Seeing this big ship coming in to the coast to save them.
Yeah, that's what we hear from the population around Iceland. When the Coast Guard comes with a helicopter or a ship, they feel relieved after there has been a disaster.
All right, I think we have to go see the operations center now, right?
Okay.
Right, lead the way. All right, Aushi, so here we are in the operations center. Can you tell us something about this place? What do you do here?
This is where we monitor the activity of the Coast Guard on a daily basis. We are in touch with our units, whether they're out to sea or in the air. Also here we are monitoring all the ship traffic around Iceland, and we are also monitoring some of the air traffic around Iceland, as we are both Maritime Rescue Coordination Center and we are Aeronautical Rescue Coordination Center here.
This is the brains of the operation. Aushi tells me that the Coast Guard has to intervene at least 350 times a year. That's almost one incident per day. They can see every vessel on a special map, and if any of these arrows disappear, the alarm goes off and the rescue unit is sent to check on them. They're also searching for anything from smugglers to illegal fishermen. But there is another, bigger threat they have to be on the lookout for.
So-called shadow fleet, which we are not seeing that much in these waters around here, but we certainly have a list, and we certainly
You are looking.
We are looking. We are not going to be caught with our pants on our heels.
The Russian Shadow Fleet consists of hundreds of previously decommissioned tankers used to circumvent Western sanctions on oil and other products. While these ships haven't been sailing near Iceland yet, it's becoming a distinct possibility. Provocations from Russian ships and drones across Europe, as well as the ongoing invasion of Ukraine, are now changing the mindset in Iceland when it comes to security.
Defense and security, and these were discussions that people were not having so much before, and are more open about it, that we can definitely feel. Coast Guard does get involved, and to a certain extent, and perhaps in the future we will get more involved.
As Aushi shows us around, he offers that I and my cameraman experience firsthand how the Coast Guard operates. We're invited to go on a helicopter training mission, and we kindly accept.
Well, Aushi, thank you so much for showing us around. As I understand, we have a helicopter to get to, right?
That's true.
All right, thanks so much for organizing this and for showing us around.
Enjoy.
Thanks. And good luck with your operations.
Thank you.
Thanks.
We arrive at the hangar of the Coast Guard at a nearby airport. We need to suit up in case there is an accident and we end up in the cold, icy water.
TVP World is about to fly in the air in one of these helicopters of the Icelandic Coast Guard to give you exclusive insight into what it's like to save lives in these difficult waters.
First, a short debrief and safety instructions. We're heading to the sea near a small island to meet a volunteer rescue vessel. There, the officers will pull up 2 people to the helicopter on a special cable to simulate the rescue of stranded sailors. 2 trained divers are coming with us just in case. And now it's go time. As we board the helicopter, the men in the unit are silent and focused. Even though it's just a training mission, you can feel the situation is serious. Anything can go wrong when you're hovering only a dozen meters above the sea in the middle of the night. Suddenly, one of the officers shows me a note on his phone. It's too loud to communicate verbally. The mission changes due to weather conditions. We're doing a simulated mountain rescue instead. As we come back to the base for a short stop, I get the chance to ask the commander why these exercises are so important and why he decided to risk his own life for others for a living.
Well, we try to limit the danger by training. So, of course, there is always some relative dangers in search and rescue operations because it's usually a matter of life and death. So you have to evaluate every time you're scrambled to do something. To start with, when you when you decide what you want to do, that's one thing. But another thing is to continue after you start. You know, it's cool when you're young to fly helicopters and search and rescue. When you have, you know, tried it and you have been here for years, the best part is, of course, saving people, being able to help.
After our conversation, the commander asks us if we could assist them in their training. We agree to be lowered down on the side of the mountain to simulate climbers in an emergency. As one of the officers opens up the side door, the noise and the wind blown by the aircraft's propeller are rushing inside. It's intense. But we trust these men completely. They've done it a million times in real emergencies. The entire operation lasts no more than a few minutes. It all goes smoothly. And it's time to head back to the base, with northern lights seen through night vision goggles. All right, the mission is over. It was a resounding success. As you can see, we've been rescued from the mountain. Clearly, these guys know what they are doing, and they have to, because the lives of the people of this island and the sailors on the ships nearby depend on it. That's how the Coast Guard operates to keep the region safe. But Iceland also has another powerful tool: 4 radars built by the Americans during the Cold War. They're scanning the sky above the Arctic, making sure there are no suspicious aircraft in the vicinity. Finally, Iceland and NATO are constantly looking below the water for Russian submarines.
During the Cold War, 1945 to 1991, as both superpowers became nuclear armed, the shortest distance for them to hit each other is across the Arctic. So if you look at Russian nuclear assets, mainly on the Kola Peninsula, Barents Sea, and of course the targeting would be across Greenland, explaining President Trump's interest, going back as long as President Truman, into why Greenland is imperative, integral to American strategic defense.
Iceland lies just 300 kilometers off of Greenland. Since the Russian occupation of Crimea in 2014, NATO has held some of its largest anti-submarine drills, such as Dynamic Mongoose, in Iceland in cooperation with Greenland. And while Donald Trump's interest in the region has been met with a rather cold welcome from the island's residents, NATO's monitoring of Russian nuclear submarines remains a crucial aspect of the Arctic's security. All of these components make this beautiful otherworldly island something more than just a tourist destination. It's a crucial NATO outpost, less rich in natural resources than Greenland, but providing the alliance with something more important in modern times: information. Instead of Winston Churchill's pistol, it's a radar, and a breathtaking one at that. From Iceland, Kazimierz Łysiak, TVP World.
And joining us right now in this edition of News in Depth is our reporter Kazimierz Łysiak, who brought us this amazing report. Hello and welcome to the studio.
Hello, Ben.
Well, I can see that the rescue mission went well, hence you're still here with us.
Exactly.
Now, can you help us understand, because Iceland is historically very pivotal for the whole global security framework, but there's also recent renewed interest in this island nation as well, perhaps due to the war in Ukraine. Can you help us explore the connection there?
Precisely. I mean, we've heard it from the Chief of Operations of the Coast Guard that before, you know, there was this sort of dynamic that the Coast Guard would do their own thing. They had a NATO base, and NATO would do their own thing. And generally speaking, the Coast Guard would try to not get involved and just leave NATO to do their own thing. But since the Russian invasion of Ukraine in 2022, the full-scale invasion, this has been changing, and it's changing more and more. You know, the Arctic used to be this area of international cooperation, of scientific research, and it still is on paper at least, but it's definitely clear from the words of the people we've spoken to in Iceland that this is changing now, that Iceland is now being concerned about the Russian Shadow Fleet. The Chinese are also eyeing these trade routes through the Arctic, which could pose a lot of dangers, not only for the security of the countries, but also for the environment, for example.
Right, like I said, it's a very interesting point of global cooperation now has become a global point of tension as well. Now, when integrating with NATO, a very important term that we usually hear is the interoperability. When you're there and seeing how they operate, have you seen a thorough integration of people from there and NATO, or do you think that there are still some calibration needing to be done?
Well, they couldn't tell me much, obviously, because most of it is classified. But from what they told me, it's clear that now they're cooperating much more. So in the past they just used to let NATO do their own thing. But it seems now that NATO is definitely cooperating with the Coast Guard more. That they are not only allowing them to secure the area near Iceland, but also to help scan for any Russian activity. And it's also interesting in the context of what's happening here in Poland as well. The invasion is happening just beyond our borders, and you can clearly see that this war is not only happening in Ukraine, or at least it is happening in Ukraine, but it has consequences for the entire world. So even in this remote island, which, like I said, only 400,000 residents, it seems like a quiet place where someone can go to, to read a book by the fire. But no, now it's also a place which is being affected by this conflict that is happening right here.
Right, definitely. We can see the ripple effect of the war reaching far and beyond as well. Now, we have very little time left, but I just want to ask you before we go off, how does it feel like to be in a rescue helicopter?
I gotta say, it was pretty exciting. And I mean, it was, when they asked us to be lowered down the side of the mountain, definitely there were some nerves there as well. But to be honest, being with these guys, I mean, you could feel that they were so professional, that they've done it so many times, that really we trusted them with our lives. And honestly, it's showing how much they are prepared to rescue people near the island, but also, who knows, patrol the sea, patrol the air, make sure that there is no dangers, either from illegal fishermen or from Russia.
All right, thank you so much for bringing us all this report, as well as helping us kind of explore how the war has taken this effect and a toll on the rest of the world. Amazing report again. Thank you for being with us here in News in Depth.
Pleasure, thanks.
Cheers. And thank you for tuning into this edition. But for more news, update and commentary, please stay tuned to TVP World.